All right, everybody, this is Sheets, and I'm going to be going over this weekend's MMA card. And I think it's somewhat interesting. On the one hand, you could argue it's very, very straightforward, even though it's a very, very big slate. But you do have to, make full lineups here, and where I think I could start you off in the right direction. There's still obviously a lot of combinations. So a couple of things that are, at least to me, somewhat obvious, is that the main event here is just going to have to be played. You have McGregor and Poirier, who are just, they're going to put a lot of volume together. It's got 5 rounds. It's got a 5-round floor. I think both fighters have significant finishing upside, and they're priced at 8,100. So this fight, you're going to have to get a piece of. I think in 100% of your lineups. I have an opinion here, and this is just based on just a lifetime of gambling, is that Poirier is probably an incredibly good bet. Just whenever you have one guy whose ownership is being driven more by name recognition than anything else, the other guy is just naturally going to have better odds, and which is why we were pretty heavy on Poirier last time they fought. Is just because, not that I thought 7,200 was particularly a good price for him at the time, but I just knew that whatever it was too low, because the McGregor just still takes that type of ownership. So I do think that I would lean Poirier over McGregor, having nothing to do with my opinion on the fight, which I really don't have one. But you do want to grab at least one of those guys, not both, but in GPP, I would make sure you have one of those two. A couple of other things to kind of keep an eye on here is OMalley versus Moutinho. So he is a big 5-1 favorite, and he rates to, just take a look at some of these odds here on OMalley. He rates to finish probably in the first round. Let's just take a look at this. So this inside the distance prop, it's like minus 187 to go under 1.5 rounds. So it's the thing is that this is actually a weaker opponent that he was priced for. See, he was 9,500 when he was supposed to fight somebody else, and now he's 9,500 fighting someone worse. So even though 9,500 in and of itself seems somewhat, pricey, you could argue that he's actually undervalued still. So this is somebody who, is going to be extremely popular. At least I would say in the big MMA tournament, probably 65-70%. Probably worth it. He's probably underpriced. So if you start with OMalley and one of these guys, I'll just put McGregor in for the time being. Actually, you can put Poirier in just because we do like it. Then you have 8,100 a player, and you're going to have to try to play some underdogs here. And not to say that you have to play OMalley, right? But I think this is obviously a nice, safe way to get started. The other thing I want to do is there's a couple of spots which I find interesting. So this fight here is the first fight of the night, Amidovsky versus Hu Yao Sung. So let's take a look at the inside the distance prop on that first of all. The inside the distance has it at, about, you'd have to lay 160 for under 2.5. So that's pretty solid. You could actually only get plus 120 for under 1.5 rounds. So this rates to be, pretty likely to finish. And what I find interesting about it is that the money has completely swung to Hu Yao Zhang. He's in some books only a 110 underdog, up to 118. But on DraftKings pricing, he's priced as if he's like a 3-1 underdog. He's 7,200. So this is definitely a misprice. And, it's a theoretical lock. You know what I mean? I'm not saying it's actually necessarily going to win, but you have a 7,200 guy who rates, who's almost a pick'em. You bet that enough times. I mean, just on win equity, it's probably a good bet. And considering that it's a pretty good inside the distance prop also, I think this is extremely strong play. Not to mention the fact that it is the first fight of the night, which I believe typically goes lower owned, because people want to play the better fights and they don't want to, shoot everything early. So this is an extremely strong play. So with these as kind of like a core, again, you don't have to play Yu Zhang, for example, but then you can kind of mess around and see where the other good inside the distance props kind of play. So here's an example. Let's look through some of these. There's a couple of other fights I want to target here. So this is interesting because Zumagulov is going to be like 9,200 with an atrocious inside the distance prop. So I'm probably going to have zero of this one. Then you have another one here. Akhmedov and Tavares, terrible inside the distance prop, probably going to have zero. Now, again, if just because something has a bad inside the distance prop doesn't necessarily mean it's bad DFS. But if you want to play a fight without a good finishing percentage, you at least want to have extraordinarily high volume or high pace on on this fight, and or have some guy who has a lot of grappling control time upside, to match with the new DraftKings scoring algorithm. And the last two fights I mentioned have neither of those. This is also a fight, which I'm not going to get to the women's fight here. Jessica Ai against Jennifer Maia. Just not enough pace, not enough finishing upside to make it work. So this one, I guess, is somewhat interesting. You have Giles and Duplessis, and you have a pretty reasonable inside the distance prop of, it's about pick 'em to go make it to the third round. So with that being, and the fight doesn't go to decision, is minus 137. So it's probably going to be decided by finish. And the pricing is such that, you could get to either of them. So I think this is probably a decent fight you want to target. Probably take both. I really don't have much of an opinion on either of them. So I would just, take one or the other and put them in. Let's look at Poirier Hall. This is another good one. So this one, again, rates the finish probably inside the distance. And what's interesting about this one is that you have Poirier at 9,100, I think, and Ryan Hall is much cheaper. Let's just double check that. Yeah, Ryan Hall's 7,100, Poirier's 9,100. Ryan Hall is kind of sneaky because he's a submission guy and he's kind of tricky to fight, and he can certainly, obviously, if he wins at all, he pays off 7,100, and if he does win, he's probably going to be by submission. So it's probably a pretty live underdog as well. So Ryan Hall, Poirier, I think both those guys are in play. This is another good fight with a good inside the distance prop. Pereira or Pereira, however you pronounce it, against Nico Price. That's another one. Look at the inside the distance prop. You only get plus 138 for under 1.5 rounds. And it's another one that's pretty similar. It's pretty similar inside the distance prop. So you could play both sides of this fight as well. And the reason why you can play both sides is that, Nico Price is definitely one of those guys that likes to go for that finish. And if he catches Pereira, it's certainly going to pay off. And then some, the $7,100 price tag. And Pereira also, he's pretty flashy. He's the one that does all those backflips when it comes in and gets introduced. I wish he wouldn't do that, but whatever gets him pumped up. And Nico Price loves to come at people and just say, "I dare you to knock me out." And Pereira might take him up on that. So this is another key fight. Condit Griffin. If anything, you could play Griffin. It doesn't really have a good inside the distance prop, but Griffin his path to victory is allegedly going to be for takedown. So whenever you have a guy like that, it becomes pretty live. So I'm not going to play Condit, but Griffin certainly fits in the profile. O'Malley, we talked about. Another women's fight here. Not going to play it. Inside the distance prop is very poor. No other reason to go after these people, to go after this fight as well. Tuivasa Hardy. kind of a sloppy heavyweight fight, which again, it's a very similar inside the distance prop to some of these others. So Tuivasa and Hardy is another one where you could go and probably play both sides and be somewhat live here. Now we're going to check ownership on these guys as we get closer to lock. And so I identified 3 fights that are all very similar with respect to props. So you have Hardy, Tuivasa, you have Topuria, Hall, Giles, Duplessis, and these guys all have very similar inside the distance props. So whichever one of them works out to be the lowest owned, I think that's where I would go. And again, I'm just not quite done with the inside with the ownership, but I'm going to put that up on the site pretty soon as we get closer to lock. And I would just go with whatever the lowest ones own fights of the ones I just mentioned are. Burns Thompson, very interesting. Burns definitely has some takedown upside. So he has a good combination of being a low price 7,700 and his path to victory being the type of path to victory that we're kind of looking for. Thompson looked really, really good in his last fight, which we saw. I forget who it was. Oh, Jeff Neal. I mean, he just made Jeff Neal look silly. And could happen with Burns as well, but I do think Burns is somewhat live here. So I might, the inside the distance prop is really not good, but here you're going to get a really high-paced fight, I think. And Thompson could get there even if he doesn't get a finish. His price is about 8,700 something, 8,500. So I think he's very fair. So I think that fight you could play also. So what do we have here? I mean, you could key O'Malley if you want. I think you should play the McGregor Poirier fight. And this Hu Zhang thing could be really interesting. You know, if you get this one home right off the bat, you're in really, really good shape, you know. So I think that's what I'm going to do at a decent amount of my lineups. I'll play at least probably 33% of my lineups with this guy, see what happens. If he gets there, then I'll have a lot of opportunity to get a lot of those other fights in, you know, and not have to go with really another big underdog. And if he doesn't get there, then my other lineups, I'm just going to be kind of forced to get there with stuff like Gilbert Burns, or maybe not be able to play O'Malley. So that's what's pretty big about that first fight. I guess that's pretty much all I have. I think I've kind of laid a good foundation for how to attack the slate, and we'll see what happens. Good luck, everybody, and let's get it.